Have you ever felt that there is something different in you, something that you cannot explain completely but that others seem to recognize instinctively? Maybe you have wondered why people feel so comfortable opening with you, or why your most irrational decisions ended up being the most successful. If you have come here, you are likely to be experiencing something that Carl Jung deeply understood, the awakening to a purpose that transcends what your ego had imagined for you. Jung, the psychologist who revolutionized our understanding of the human psyche, knew that certain souls are destined to fulfill roles that go beyond conventional expectations. It is not about greatness in the traditional sense, but a specific function that your being is called to play in the great tapestry of human existence. If you have felt like a misfit, if your sensitivity has been misunderstood, if you have fought to fit into molds that simply were not for you, this message is especially for you. In this video, we are going to explore 5 unequivocal signs that you are fulfilling a higher role that you never imagined, all from the deep perspective of Carl Jung and its understanding of the individual process. What you will discover can change forever the way you see yourself and your place in this world. Stay with me, because what is about to reveal could be exactly what your soul needed to listen. There is something in you that people instinctively recognize, a quality that goes beyond words or gestures. Carl Jung would have identified this as the manifestation of your authentic self, that psychic totality that emits a particular frequency. When your ego is not struggling to impress or control, when you simply exist in your truth, people feel that authenticity as a safe refuge. It is no accident that strangers approach you with their deepest secrets. Your soul has learned to sustain the pain of others without judging it, because you have sustained your own. This simply being there is a transcendent function in action. Jung understood that when we integrate our own shadows, when we have sailed through our own emotional chasms, we develop a presence that does not need to do anything to heal. Your individuation process has taught you that true power is not to give advice or solutions, but in creating a sacred space where others can meet their own truth. Your presence becomes a clean mirror where people can be seen without the distortion of the trial. What others perceive in you is not perfection, but totality. You have integrated enough aspects of your shadow so as not to project your own unresolved conflicts over others. When someone shares their pain with you, you do not feel the compulsive need to fix it because you have learned that the pain, as Jung knew, is often the path to transformation. Your soul recognizes that each person carries within himself the necessary wisdom for their own healing, and your role is simply testifying that truth. This quality you have is a clear indicator that you have transcended the ego's need to be special or important. Instead, you have found your importance in being real. People do not seek your intellectual wisdom. They seek that frequency of authenticity that emanates from someone who has done internal work, who has faced their own demons, and has emerged not as a hero, but as a complete human being. Your presence is a silent reminder that it is possible to be vulnerable and strong at the same time. When you look back in your life, a truth becomes undeniable. The decisions that seemed more irrational, more impulsive, more wrong according to the world's standards, were precisely those that took you where you needed to be. Carl Jung called this guidance force the self, that superior instance of the psyche that orchestra the movements of our life from a wisdom that transcends the logic of the ego. What your conscious mind interpreted as errors, your soul recognized them as necessary steps in the individual process. The ego, with its need for control and security, makes decisions based on fear, social approval, and immediate survival. But there is another voice, quieter, but deeper, which speaks from the center of your being. Jung understood that this voice of the self often guides us towards experiences that the ego would never choose. Losses that teach us about detachment, failures that humanize us, solitary paths that connect us with our true nature. Each illogical decision you took was actually an answer to this interior call towards the whole. Now you can clearly distinguish between the decisions that are born from the ego and those that emerge from the soul. The former are loaded with anxiety, in need of demonstrating something, fear of judgment. The latter arrive with a strange stillness, a certainty that does not need justifications. Jung knew that when we began to trust this inner guide, our life becomes an expression of our deepest purpose. not a constant struggle to fit into others. Your past challenges were not punishments or errors of the universe. They were training. Each difficult experience prepared you to sustain a particular frequency, to develop a specific understanding, to cultivate a compassion that is only born from having walked through certain territories of the soul. Your purpose is not based on sacrifice or save others, but on the consciousness that you have developed through your own transformation process. Each intuitive decision closer to this truth, that your life is a unique work of art, created by the collaboration between your conscious ego and the infinite wisdom of yourself. For years, the world made you believe that your sensitivity was a weakness, a failure in your design that needed to be corrected or hidden. But Carl Jung understood something that modern society has forgotten, that refined sensitivity is actually a superior psychic function, a finely calibrated antenna that can perceive the underground currents of reality that others do not detect. Your ability to feel before being able to explain is not a limitation. It is a form of knowledge that transcends rational logic. Your sensitivity allows you to read the between lines of human existence. When someone says, "I'm fine," but her energy shouts pain, you perceive it. When a situation seems perfect on the surface but something inside is contracted, you trust that contraction. Jung called this the function of feeling, not as an uncontrolled emotion, but as a form of evaluation that considers the entire situation, including its invisible aspects. You have learned that your body and soul are more precise instruments of perception than your analytical mind. Your own experiences navigating complex emotional territories have made you a natural guide for others that are in those same depths. You don't need to have lived exactly the same experience. Your sensitivity allows you to resonate with the frequency of pain, confusion, or the transformation of others. As Jung knew, when we have integrated our own shadows, we can accompany others in his without losing ourselves in the process, without judging, without fixing. This sensitivity that before making you feel different or misfit is now revealed as your superpower. You can detect authenticity from kilometers away. You can feel when someone is acting from their ego or from their truth. You can perceive the synchronicities that others overlook. Your soul has been calibrated to detect what Jung called the transcendent function, those moments where the conscious and the unconscious are, where the real transformation becomes possible. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It is your most reliable compass towards an authentic life. There is something in your essence that simply cannot be contained in the pre-established molds of the world. For a long time, this made you feel like a misfit, as if there was something fundamentally bad with you. But Carl Jung understood that certain souls come to this world not to fit in existing structures, but to create new possibilities. Your resistance to conventional roads is not rebellion without purpose. It is the expression of a deeper archetype that seeks to manifest something unique through you. Your energy does not align with systems that require your truth to belong. Jung knew that the individuation process often leads us on lonely paths, far from the crowd seeking conformity security. You have learned that it is better to honor your authentic nature in solitude than to betray it by acceptance. This is not misanthropy. He is a deep auton. You prefer the stillness of your own company to subtle violence to pretend to be who you are not. By denying you to force yourself in structures that did not resonate with your soul, you have done something revolutionary. You have created your own structure. As Jung understood, when we follow our inner truth, we automatically begin to attract others who also seek a more authentic way of existing. Your life becomes a living demonstration that it is possible to live from integrity, that it is possible to create a path that honors both your individuality and your connection with something greater. This quality of not fitting is actually a gift for the world. In a society that rewards uniformity, your authenticity becomes a lighthouse for others that also feel displaced. Your refusal to compromise your essence for social convenience creates permission for others to do the same. Jung knew that individuation is not a selfish process. When we become who we really are, we automatically serve the whole in a way that no social mask could achieve. Your maladjustment is actually your perfect adaptation to your highest purpose. Something fundamental has changed in you. That desperate need for external approval, of signals from the world that confirms that you are on the right path, has simply disappeared. Carl Jung understood that this is one of the clearest indicators that a person has begun to live since his authentic self, instead of the demands of the ego. You no longer need others to tell you who your work is or what is worth. That certainty now springs from a silent and unwavering place within you. This self-confidence that you have developed has nothing to do with arrogance or superiority. Jung clearly distinguished between the inflation of the ego and the authority that emerges from the integrated self. Your security does not come from comparing yourself to others or accumulating external achievements. It comes from having found your center, of having made contact with that part of you that existed before the world told you who you should be. You no longer act to impress. You act because something in you needs to express yourself. You have learned to distinguish between the motivation born from fear, need for approval, to demonstrate your value, and the motivation that is born from love, authentic expression of your nature. When you speak, you do it out of internal necessity, not by social obligation. When you act, you do it from a genuine impulse, not from the programming of what you should do. Jung knew that when we live from this authenticity, our impact on the world becomes exponentially more powerful, because we are operating from the truth instead of the performance. The impact of your work is no longer measured by external reactions, but by the transformation it generates. You can feel when you have touched something real in someone, when you have activated a frequency of recognition in your soul. This new way of evaluating your effect in the world frees you from the emotional roller coaster to constantly seek validation. You have found your own confirmation source, the alignment between your inner truth and your outer expression. Jung called this to live from the transcendent function, where there is no separation between who you are and what you do, where your life becomes a consistent expression of your deepest essence. If these 5 signs have resonated with you, if you have felt that deep recognition in your chest while you listen to them, then you know the truth. You are not here to live an ordinary life. Carl Jung understood that the individual process inevitably leads us to our most authentic purpose, towards that unique role that only we can play in the great theater of human existence. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your most precise antenna. Your inability to fit into conventional molds is not a defect. It is the sign that you are here to create something new. Your independence of external validation is not arrogance. It is the freedom that is born from having found your true center. Each of these qualities that perhaps made you feel different or displaced are actually the components of your transcendent function, of your unique ability to serve something greater than your individual ego. Now I want to listen to you. Which of these 5 signs resonated more deeply with you? How is your own individuation process manifesting in your daily life? Share your experience in comments, because your story matters and can be exactly what another search engine needs to listen to recognize your one truth. If this content has touched something real in you, if you feel that you belong to this community of souls that refuse to live from the surface, then subscribe in the name of the channel and activate the notifications. This is a sacred space for deep thinkers, for those who are tired of pretending, for whom they understand that true growth happens in the depths of the soul. Like this video, if you feel that you need to remember these truths, and share it with someone who is also waking up to your highest purpose. Remember, you are not broken, you are becoming. Your path is unique, your purpose is sacred, and your presence in this world is more necessary than you ever imagined. Until next time, and never forget that your inner light is exactly what this world needs.